Hello, Cardinals. We're going to talk about a little assignment that you have called Characteristics and Needs of All Living Things. This is going to be taking information from Characteristics of Life, which you read, That's Life, a couple days ago. And then it's also going to take information from what do plant and animals need. And you're going to be applying this to an organism. The directions are at the top, and so is a place for your name and hour. So to start, as always, add your first and last name and your hour. And then what you're going to be doing is finding an animal from your ecosystem project. So those projects we've been working on, the independent projects, you're going to pick an organism from your ecosystem. And why are you doing that? Because you can kind of get two things done at once. You can get information for one of the organisms that you're doing research on for your ecosystem, and also get this little assignment done. So I would start by picking an animal. I chose prairie dog from the prairie systems, and you're going to put the name of that animal and the drawing in the center of that sheet of paper. The next thing you're going to do is focus on the 6 characteristics of life for your specific animal. Once again, I chose a prairie dog, and you're going to be explaining how your organism meets the characteristics of life. So basically, you're explaining why that organism is classified as a living thing. Include the characteristics and specific examples of how that organism meets the characteristics of life. For example, all organisms need energy. An example I chose was cactus. Cactuses use energy from the sun to manufacture their own food. A hint, use your information. You did the work, and that's life. Now it's the time to apply that information in a small little project. So here's my first example. Now there are 6 characteristics, so I'll need 6 on the left side. But as you can see here, I chose the first one as an example for you. Prairie dogs need energy for life processes. Prairie dogs primarily eat seeds and grass. They also eat insects, but not very often. You may ask, where did Mr. Mon find that information? Well, I looked it up. So you can use your internet and find a quality resource and figure out the 6 characteristics of life. So I did one as an example, but you have all this room, you need to add all 6. So you need to look back to the information, and then that's required. You must add information for all of the characteristics of life. So you're going to make a big long list right here. And if you notice, I just didn't explain like prairie dogs need energy. I explained how they get their energy. So if I was doing, like I said, cactuses, they get it from the sun, and they'd use photosynthesis to manufacture their own food. This is where you're showing not only what they need, but how they get that, characteristic, but also how they fulfill that. The other thing you'll need to do is explain the needs of your organism. So this is going back to what do plants and animals need, and you should be classifying those as abiotic and biotic. For example, all animals need food. An abiotic factor of a cactus, they need sunlight. So for my example here, prairie dogs, I did this on the opposite side. Needs of a prairie dog, and I classified this in abiotic, which is non-living factors, and biotic, which is living. And so there's a whole bunch of abiotic factors that a prairie dog would need, but for the example, I just chose 2. They would need soil for their homes and shelter from predators, and they would need water and snow. They actually eat snow in the winter that melts for hydration. Where did I find that information? Well, once again, I looked it up. So I'm looking up the information to figure out what the animal needs. Now, the crazy thing is a lot of these across both sides are going to be connected. So, for example, prairie dogs need energy for life processes. They eat seeds and grasses. Those are living things. I would include those under biotic factors. They also need insects. Those are living. I'd put that under biotic factors. So a lot of the things from your characteristics of life are going to show up on the needs of a prairie dog because they are connected. Living things need food, water, shelter, all of those things, and that's going to go on this side. So once again, you're required to add information for all of the needs of your organism, both abiotic and biotic. Once again, if you have any questions, please ask your teacher, and have a great day, Panthers.